Hello and welcome to my PCOS kitchen. I'm Mira and this is Charlotte, my little assistant. Today I will be showing you how to make keto oatmeal cookies. Now the standard oatmeal cookies would use lots of oats and raisins, but today I am going to show you a healthy version that uses coconut flakes, almond slices, and cranberries instead of raisins. Okay, so first you're going to add almond flour into a bowl. I'm using my stand mixer, but you could use a hand mixer with a whisk. This is about a cup of almond flour, so 110 grams. I'm just going to put that in there. And I'm going to add a sweetener, and this is about a quarter cup plus 2 tablespoons, so 80 grams of erythritol. You could use any other granulated sweetener that you want. And I'm just going to pair that with a bit of stevia powder. So this is half a teaspoon of stevia powder. Now I like to mix stevia and erythritol, so I make my own mixes, just because for me it tastes better, and it's also cheaper for me, at least in Japan, to make my own mixes instead of buying like pre-mixed ones like Lakanto or Swerve and whatnot. I'm also going to add 2 tablespoons of oat fiber. Now, oat fiber is the husk of oats. It's not actual oats, it's just the husk, it's the outer skin, and it's just pure fiber, so this has 0 carbs. And this will add a little bit of oaty flavor to the cookies, so which is why I'm adding them. If you don't want to use it, that's fine, you don't have to. The cookies will still work out. Then I'm going to add about 3/4 teaspoon of baking powder and then 3/4 teaspoon of cinnamon. I'm also going to add half a teaspoon of xanthan gum, and this will help the cookies stick together. You could also use gelatin. A lot of people use gelatin to make their cookies stick, just because this isn't gluten, so the cookies tend to fall apart. Xanthan gum helps makes the cookies bind together, so it's good to have on hand. I use it in a lot of baking stuff. And I'm going to add 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Now I'm actually going to mix all of that. I'm just putting the whisk attachment. And there you go. You just want the flour mixture to be perfectly mixed together, and that's it. Nothing too special. After that's all mixed together, you'll want to add the butter. So this is half a cup and 120 grams of butter. This is unsalted butter, room temperature, so it's pretty soft, so it'll be super easy to mix in. So you're gonna mix that in like this until it all sticks together. Now you can see it's it's like it all stuck together. So now you're going to add an egg into that. Just with one hand. Let's see. There you go. I don't think there's any shell in there. Perfect. And just going to mix that together again. Perfect. Now I'm going to add a cup of sliced almonds, and this is about 90 grams. And I'm going to put half a cup of coconut flakes. So these almond slices and the coconut are like the oats, and I'm just going to mix that up one more time. Scrape the sides a little. Perfect. And then finally, I'm going to add chopped up fresh cranberries. Now this is what I use instead of raisins. You could totally use raisins if you want. It's just gonna bring the carbs up, and it's probably gonna bring your blood sugar up too. I know when I was pregnant I couldn't eat raisins because my blood sugar would go sky high, and I had gestational diabetes, so this is perfect. These were frozen and I just chopped them up. You could use fresh ones too. They just don't sell fresh ones here in Japan. So these are frozen cranberries all chopped up. I'm just going to add them to the stand mixer real quick, and I'm just going to mix it real quick because you don't really want the cookies to become red. So just a few seconds. There. And the dough already became pretty red, but that's okay. So this is what you want. And this is the perfect consistency. So they are ready to scoop and bake. So that's what we will be doing in a second. So now I'm just going to scoop some cookie dough and I'm going to put it on a baking tray. And this is actually sort of a Selpat mat, but it's a Japanese brand. So instead of using parchment paper, saves me money because I use these at my bakery, and instead of buying baking paper for like every single baked goods I make, these are pretty good to have. So I'm just going to line them up on this. Now you could make as big a cookies you want. I don't want to make them too big. They'll expand just a little, not too much, but I'm probably putting about 2 tablespoons of cookie dough, not too much. And just spacing them out. And I'm going to make a shape after that, so they don't have to be perfect right away. Just like so. Maybe a little bit more on this one. And a little bit more on this one. Okay, so now I'm just going to make like a perfect round shape and then flatten them a little bit. They don't flatten too much in the oven, so that's why you have to flatten them first. And the dough sticks, so I suggest putting some oil on your hands. This is olive oil, this is a spray. You could use like Pam. We don't have Pam in Japan, but this works for me. So you're just gonna spray your hands like this with some oil, and this will help not make the dough stick. So basically I'm gonna make a beautiful ball, and I'm just going to put it back on the tray and flatten it a little. It's pretty simple, and you see the dough doesn't stick to my hands. So just repeat. And I made about, how many? 12? I made 20 cookies. So just repeat until you have perfect cookie shapes. If you want like the perfect amount, you could always weigh the dough and then separate each cookie into the perfect amount. That's what I do at my bakery, so that means every single cookie weighs the same. It helps if you're really keeping track with your macros. There you go. 20 flattened cookies, and these are ready to go into the oven. So I have a 170 Celsius, so that's about 325 Fahrenheit oven that's preheated. So I'm just going to pop them in there once I wash my hands. So I'm going to pop them in the oven, and I'm going to bake them for about 20 minutes. When they're golden brown, you know they're ready, and then you can take them out of the oven. So these are going into the hot oven. Alright, so the oatmeal cookies finished baking, and they were in there for 20 minutes. Now remember, if you're using erythritol, your cookies will be hard. They'll be the hard type of cookies. If you want chewy cookies, use xylitol or allulose. Other than that, these are crispy cookies. So the longer they sit out, the crispier they're going to get. So they've been sitting out about 30 minutes now. So they're semi-soft. They're not too crispy yet. They're still kind of soft on the inside. But these are my oatmeal cookies. They're super delicious, super healthy. You won't even miss the traditional oatmeal cookies. They're just amazing to eat, and they're the perfect snack. Delicious. Now because there's almond slices and coconut shreds in there, you can't really tell it's not oats, and because I put that oat fiber, you have that little hint of oat in there. Also the cranberries, honestly, you don't have to use like homemade dried cranberries. Fresh is totally fine because they dry out in the oven, so they're just like raisins right now. They're absolutely delicious. So I definitely recommend making these if you have time. They're super simple to make, as you only need to mix and bake. That's it. So I hope you enjoyed this recipe, and I will see you guys in the next video. And Charlotte will see you next time too, but she's fast asleep right now. So thank you for watching, and see you next time.